Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon to everybody out there viewing this video and this podcast today. My name is T Swizz, aka Swizz, aka Tyler Sumner, your host of the Swizz Sports Show here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And today, we're going to be talking about a lot of things in regards to the NFL, giving my week 3 predictions, talking a lot about the Dallas Cowboys. And is Malik Nabers possibly the best receiver in the NFL right now? All that and so much more on the Gridlock episode 2. Guys, if you like more content like this and you want to see more of the Gridlock here, as we will be doing this every single week of the NFL season with guests, without guests, make sure that you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel here over on YouTube. That is the Swizz Sports Show. You can also find me on Instagram at the Swizz Sports Show, and also find me on Facebook at the Swizz Sports Show. I will leave links to that in the description below. As always, this podcast is presented by Kim's Cool Creation. So let's get right into it today with talking about the Cowboy conversation. So the Dallas Cowboys have really raised a lot of questions, right? You know, the Cowboys are 1-1 on the season, losing their season opener, to the Philadelphia Eagles 24-20 and winning their home opener 40-37 against the New York Giants. Now, the secondary in the first game against the Eagles looked fine, looked good. Deron Bland looked healthy. Trayvon Diggs looked like the Trayvon Diggs of old that we've seen before. And then in week 2, the secondary kind of just collapsed, right? I mean, pulling up some stats here, the Trayvon Diggs got constantly burnt on a deep ball by Wan'Dale Robinson, got burnt by Malik Nabers numerous times, and we'll talk about Malik Nabers here in a little while. But looking at these stats, right, the Cowboys let up 37 points to the New York Giants. Russell Wilson had 450 passing yards, 450 yards total, 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Cam Scatterbo, the rookie, had 11 carries for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. But the most impressive stat that your secondary let up was to Malik Nabers with 9 receptions for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Looking over on the Cowboys side of the ball, Dak Prescott was 38 for 52 with 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Javonte Williams was the running back of the day, which he was the better running back of the day, had 18 carries, 97 yards, and 1 touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had 9 receptions and 112 yards, but no touchdown, which is very interesting here. Guys, it's a bit concerning knowing that even though your offense is putting up 40 points on the New York Giants, which I will take that any day of the week by any means, but it's a bit concerning that your defense can't back up the offense production. And sure, Dak is doing great things being a regular season quarterback. He's always been a regular season quarterback. He's been top 10 in the league every single season of his career. And people hate on Dak way too much. And I used to be one of those included here. But, you know, looking at it, right, the defense and the secondary needs to be more efficient because we can't rely on our offense to win games, right? We have to rely on our defense to help us out, because if we just rely on our offense, sure, we can be getting points, having high-scoring games, but offense doesn't guarantee you a win. You need defensive stops. You need interceptions. You need to force fumbles. You need to get stops at the goal line. You need to get stops in the red zone, right? And this game could have been a lot different had those penalties, those 5 penalties in the first quarter on the first drive by Hudson, who was a replacement filling in for one of the Giants' injured players. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head. But it's one of those things that is just so frustrating to watch as a Dallas Cowboys fan is, where's the secondary help? And I understand Deron Bland is hurt, but it's all about next man up in football, right? Trayvon Diggs has to make those plays. We need the Trayvon Diggs from 2022, the one who led the league in interceptions, the one who led the league in pass breakups, right? Now, I know there's a bit of a struggle without having Micah Parsons. And credit to Jerry Jones, he just went out and bought, or not bought, but went out and got Jadeveon Clowney. That helps out the pass rush tremendously. But again, you need help in the secondary. And it's unclear if DaRon Bland is coming back in week 3, right? If DaRon Bland is not back in week 3, I am scared for this Cowboys defense against the Chicago Bears because the Chicago Bears are a very hungry team. The Chicago Bears are 0-2 on the season. They're looking for a win. And I think if this Cowboys defense does not play up to par, the Bears could beat the Cowboys in Chicago. And I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good for looking at the rest of the season wise, even though granted it's only week 3, but I don't think it's very good knowing that you have a defense that can't beat one of the worst offensive lines and worst offensive production wise this season so far in the National Football League in the Chicago Bears. Sure, they have good passing yards, but they blow leads, right? They did it in week 1 to the Minnesota Vikings. They did it in week 2. It's one of those things that you just sit there and you look at and say, this game is very winnable, but we have to step up. We have to step up. Brian Schottenheimer looks really good as a head coach. I like the play calling a lot, especially in week 2. He adjusted a lot. But again, it's one of those things where you just sit back and you say to yourself, hey, this Cowboys team is a playoff team. All they have to do is play right, play hard. The secondary has to play better coverage. And I can't emphasize that enough, guys. And I know I'm repeating myself, but the secondary has to step up. Right? And it's going to be interesting to see what Jadeveon Clowney does for the pass rushing game because the Cowboys pass rush kind of struggles without Micah Parsons. And we've seen it in the first 2 weeks of the NFL. In the first 2 weeks of the season, rather. Am I saying this Cowboys team is a Super Bowl team? By no means, no. No. They are not a Super Bowl team yet. For me, in order to see if this team can be a Super Bowl contender, I have to see how they look going into week 7, 8, and 9. Because they're going to be playing Detroit. They're going to be playing Kansas City. They're going to be playing Philly again. And they're going to be playing Washington as well soon. Those are major tests in the NFL. If Dallas can win 2 or 3 of those 4 or 5 games, then I can confidently say, okay, this team can be an NFC Championship / Super Bowl contender. We know how the Cowboys are in the playoffs, right? They've been the butt of the joke for the last 30-somewhat years. But looking at where we are now, Dak looks healthy. And a healthy Dak is a good Dak. But again, you also got Javonte Williams. That helps out. But again, like my co-host or my guest the last week that I was on, which was last week, said George Pickens, right, makes this offense incredible. George Pickens helps make Kevontae Turpin better, helps make Jalen Tolbert better. And now with having George Pickens, there's so much pressure lifted off of CeeDee Lamb that you don't have to worry about CeeDee getting all the coverage on him because now you have to cover George Pickens, right, if you're the other teams. And we saw George Pickens had a great game against the New York Giants, had 1 touchdown, his first of the year for the Dallas Cowboys, had big first down plays, getting us into the red zone territory to make sure that the Cowboys win and Brandon Aubrey kicks those field goals to win the games and win the game, excuse me. But yeah, guys, it's frustrating seeing our secondary the way it is. But I'm not pumping the brakes or anything like that. I'm not hitting the red button yet, or the panic button rather, on the Cowboys. Because I do think And call me crazy. This is one of my hot takes that I've said before. Excuse me, got something in my eye over here. I think the Cowboys could be better than the Detroit Lions this year. I really, really do. The Lions are struggling. Even though they just mollywopped and absolutely put belt to butt and spanked the Chicago Bears like without any mercy on them. I still think Dallas can finish better than Detroit this year. I really, really do. And it's going to be interesting. And we'll get into my week 3 predictions in just a little while. But let's move on now to one of my other takes. This is the neighborhood segment of the show. Now, if you're wondering why it's called the neighborhood, it's because Malik Neighbors. Folks, if you're sitting there and you don't know who Malik Neighbors is, let me just tell you, the guy is incredible. Again, I'll pull up his stat line right here from this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. He had 9 receptions, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And we're going to look and see where he lies amongst receivers in the NFL. Excuse me while I'm looking this up. I apologize, folks. I didn't have it pull up, but we're looking at receivers right now, right? I'm pulling it up on ESPN. Malik Neighbors is number 1 of the entire top 5 in the National Football League, and we're only 2 games in. He has 14 receptions, 238 yards. He's averaging 17 yards per reception. He has 2 touchdowns on the season, and his longest reception is 48 yards, and he's averaging about 119 yards per game. He has no fumbles. I mean, it's a pretty lengthy gap that he has right now in terms of the top 5, right? When you're looking at it, Jackson Smith-Njigba from Seattle has 227 yards. He averages 13.4 yards a carry, no touchdowns, right? CeeDee Lamb, my favorite receiver in the National Football League, has 222 yards, 13.9 yards a carry, no touchdowns. So Malik Neighbors already has a 2-touchdown lead over 3 of the top 5 receivers right now in the NFL. Zay Flowers comes in 5th with 218 yards, 15.6 averaging a carry, and 1 touchdown. Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, and Jackson Smith-Njigba are in that order. Jackson Smith, CeeDee Lamb, Puka Nacua, 2 to 4, have 0 touchdowns this season. Malik Neighbors already has 2, right? And now you're looking at it. Where's Justin Jefferson? Where's Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase doesn't even have 200 yards on the season yet, and he only has 1 touchdown, right? He's only averaging 11.9 yards a carry. And Joe Burrow being out now for 3 months up until December, right? And you're looking at this list. Justin Jefferson is all the way in 29th, right? So it's one of those things where you look at the evidence here, folks. Malik Neighbors is the best wide receiver right now in the NFL statistically. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Malik Neighbors could finish best wide receiver in the NFL this season. But that also comes with a question. Who's throwing the ball to him every week? Is it Jackson Dart? Is it Russell Wilson? Are we going to be getting the Russell Wilson that we got this past Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys, where he's throwing 450 yards, 2 touchdowns a game, has the deep ball, can throw and move in the pocket, throw on the run, right? Because that was the best version of Russell Wilson that I've seen since he left Seattle, which was almost 4 years ago. So, folks, I'm going to say it. Malik Neighbors right now is the best receiver in the National Football League. And you can debate me if you want in the comments below, but I'm going to say it. Malik Neighbors is the best receiver in the National Football League right now. And I don't know how you can beat him. I mean, they are playing the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow night, and I'm going to get into my predictions in a little while about that, but it's interesting. And transitioning now, right? I want to talk about the Bengals here for a second. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to be in trouble this year. Joe Burrow is out for 3 months again, even though he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he's healthy. The injury bug just continues to attack Joe Burrow. He has a case of what they call turf toe, which is when you take your big toe and it bends like this, and it can either tear or sprain the ligament in that toe, if you will, and it's extremely painful. I've never personally had it. I hope I never have it. But Burrow's out, and Jake Browning now is Jamar Chase's quarterback. So it's going to be interesting to see, right? And J.J. McCarthy's out now, too, for the Minnesota Vikings. Guys, we're looking at, like, really the only competition right now for Malik Neighbors is going to be CeeDee Lamb or Puka Nacua or even Jackson Smith and Jigba. But, again, the one question that a lot of us have, right, is, okay, who's going to be throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors? Now, I personally think you still give Russ a shot after last week, right? But now, with that being said, guys, this is going to be a quicker podcast today. So let's get into my week 3 predictions on the NFL schedule. So let me pull it up right there. Boom, week 3 predictions. There you guys see. All right, so tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we got the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Minnesota Vikings. Carson Wentz versus Jake Browning. I don't know how confident I am in this. I'm going to take Minnesota. I think it's a very low-scoring game. I think it's like a 17-14 game. But, yeah, give me the Vikings here. Then we got the Texans going to Jacksonville in an AFC South matchup. C.J. Stroud still has not looked good this season, guys. We don't know what's going on with C.J. Stroud. The fall-off needs to be studied. Give me the Jaguars here, 21-17. Beating the Texans at home. Then we have the Indianapolis Colts versus the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Cam Ward has looked really good so far. But the surprise of the league, guys, is the Indianapolis Colts, right? Give me the Colts here, 30-24. I really like this Colts offense with Daniel Jones. Raiders Commanders. I'm going to go ahead and take the Raiders here. Jaden Daniels is out this week. He will be back in a couple weeks, I've heard. He is out. I'm going to take the Raiders here on the road. Then we have the Rams at the Eagles. This could be a trap game, ladies and gentlemen. Eagles are still 2-0, but they haven't looked like those dominant Eagles. I don't know if I trust the Rams secondary fully. I'm going to take the Rams in an upset here. I think the Eagles get their first loss of the season. Then we have a sleeper game, Falcons-Panthers. Give me the Falcons. 21-10, I think I'm going to go for that score. Yeah. Then we have Steelers-Patriots. Steelers going to Foxborough. Patriots looking for their first win at home this season under Mike Vrabel. Coming off a win against Miami, a very sloppy win nonetheless, but a win is a win. We've learned that in the National Football League. Give me the Steelers here, beating the Patriots 34-20. I think we're going to go with that. Aaron Rodgers loves to play in Foxborough. We've seen that. Give me the Steelers here. Packers-Browns. This one, ladies and gentlemen, oh my Lord. This could be our first Swizz Smoke. We're going to call it the Swizz Smoke Show here on the Swizz Sports Show here, and what we're calling this segment right here, because, ladies and gentlemen, this is my blowout game of the week. The Green Bay Packers are going to win this game against the Cleveland Browns 47-17. Okay, I'm that confident in the Packers in this one. I mean, Micah Parsons has really made a great defense greater, right? The pass rushing, the secondary, the offense, Jordan Love, Romeo Doubs, Josh Jacobs. I mean, it's like going to Waffle House and getting the waffle smothered and scattered, right? Or whatever you get smothered and scattered at Waffle House. I'm going to take the Packers in this one. Then we got what could be a really good game at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Jets, Bucks. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Emeka Egbuka looks really, really good this season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield is always a solid quarterback. Give me the Bucks here, 27-21 in a close game. Then we got the Broncos and the Chargers. Give me the Chargers. I think the Chargers are legit this year, man. I really think the Chargers are legit. I think they're a playoff team. Justin Herbert looks really good. Give me the Chargers. Saints Seahawks in a game that I'm surprised that anybody is going to be watching. Nonetheless, I know my friend Kyle Howe will be watching. Shout out to him if he happens to watch this video. Give me Seattle. I don't think the Saints got it this year. I think the Saints are going to try to tank for Arch Manning. I think they're going to try to go for that number 1 pick. So give me the Seahawks here in a very low-scoring game, 17-10. Then we got the Cowboys and the Bears. DeRon Bland still out for the Cowboys. This is in Chicago. I'm going to take Dallas here, 27-14. I think we're going to look at a big game here from CeeDee Lamb, and I think we're going to look at a big game again from Dak Prescott. Then we have the Cardinals and the 49ers. Give me the Cardinals in an upset. Brock Purdy not playing. It's in San Francisco, though. Nick Bosa is looking like the Nick Bosa of old. Give me the 49ers. I mean, Cardinals, sorry, though. I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I think Kyler Murray's going to have a game. Then we go to Sunday night, which is, guys, this game is a lot harder to predict for me than what people think, right? I mean, looking on paper, it's the Chiefs versus the Giants, right? But looking what the Giants did last week, they looked like a playoff team. They really did. Again, but do I think the Chiefs lose 3 in a row and start the season 0-3? Guys, I'm going to say it. Yeah, this is my upset of the week. I got the Chiefs winning 34-31. I'm sorry, I got the Giants winning 34-31. Excuse me. I think Malik Neighbors has a game. I think Malik Neighbors has another game. And I think Russell Wilson balls out. I really, really do. So I'm going to go Giants 34-31 here. Then in our final week 3 matchup here in the NFL, we got a Monday night duel between the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Go ahead and give me Baltimore here. I think Baltimore's playing with a chip on their shoulder now. Derrick Henry's going to have a game. Zay Flowers looks really good. And, yeah, I'm going to go Baltimore here, 34-27. That's my predictions for week 3. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And this was episode 2 of the Gridlock presented by Cool Creations. As always, this podcast is in memory of my Nana, Anita Bear. And I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys like this podcast. Make sure you guys, again, like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Let me know your burning questions. Everything will be in the description below. And I will see you guys in week 3 of the Gridlock podcast, which will be next week. Again, guys, thank you very much for all the recent support, and go Cowboys.